So it's been 1 year officially since I bought my dream motorcycle, the R1250GS. So I wanted to share with you guys a long-term review of what I think of the bike and if I'm still happy with it. So let's get after it. So this bike has enriched my adventure life so much. Before this, I had the Triumph Tiger 800 and it was a 2011 model. Great bike, love that bike, but really just was not great for long distances. My wrist was getting just destroyed on longer trips. It just wasn't the long distance adventure motorcycle that I had hoped for. Now with the R1250GS, of course, nothing is out of reach. I can go any distance and I'm super comfortable on this bike. Really, really loving it. I want to go through issues I've had with the bike, go through the costs of the bike, go through some mods that I've done to the motorcycle very quickly, talk about reliability and the ride that the motorcycle gives me. So let's talk about issues. I just rolled over 20,000 kilometers on the motorcycle. I will put the miles conversion down below. And what are some of the issues that I've had in that time? I've really only had one major issue with the motorcycle, and that was a rear brake light fault. And so that was really weird and the bike would not start. What I had to do was just let the bike sit for a minute, and then after about 5 to 10 minutes, I could restart the bike. What the dealer is telling me that is actually the battery is low on charge. And so what I had to do, go home, put it on the Tinder for a few hours, and then I was good to go. Haven't had it again since I've been charging the battery, so it's been no issue, but it was kind of annoying that I couldn't start the bike. I did have a recall that came out on this bike, and I had to take it in. Basically, it was they were putting a drain in the drive shaft to drain out any moisture or anything that sits up in there. They actually saw that my drive shaft was out of a certain range, they called it, that was acceptable, and so they replaced it under warranty. They completely replaced my entire drive shaft. So that was nice that they did that, and it didn't cost me anything, so no problem. I mean, that's an issue, but it didn't cost me any money, any headache. I never felt any difference one way or the other. Even when they replaced it, I wasn't like, whoa, new bike. It felt the same to me. One of the really only other issues that I've had, and it's not really an issue as much as an annoyance, is you can tell when you turn the bike off, there's a valve inside. I think it's the exhaust, and it's like a flap that sometimes when you turn the bike off, you hear it like, eep. And they said that if they go in there and they oil it and lube it up, it'll be good for, I don't know, a month or two, and then it'll start doing it again. They said nothing's wrong with the bike, that's just a noise that it makes. All right, so what is the bad about the bike? Let's talk about the bad stuff about the bike. Look, it's really hard because I absolutely love this motorcycle and it's been such a great companion for me along the way. I think the really only bad side to this motorcycle is the cost, but I knew full well how expensive it was when I bought it, of course, and clearly I think it's worth it because here we sit. I'm coming up to that 20,000 kilometer service, and so with that comes a little bit more expensive. They have to go through a few things on the bike. So I am looking at about 400 euros, 430 US dollars to do that service. So it's a little bit more expensive than usual. I've only had the bike for a year now. As of this week was 1 year. I've only had to do one oil change in that time. It's every 6,000 miles, I believe it is. You have to do an oil change. And so only done one. Cost me about 190 euros to do the oil change at the official BMW dealership. That's really all the costs I've had on the motorcycle besides the mods that I've put on the bike. I have done a couple of things. I'll run you through the mods right now. All right, so I have had about $3,000 in mods on this bike, but I'm just gonna run you through them really quick. So right here, you've got the cover for the headlight. You really need that because if you crack this, you're looking at about 1,500 bucks to replace it. So money well spent there. The Denali D4s, absolutely incredible. Recommend them, would definitely do them. Upper and lower crash guards, that's a must in my opinion. Some people don't like the look. I think they look absolutely phenomenal. And then of course, you've got these side cases here, which take up quite a bit of budget, but they're amazing, really love them. And then the Puig touring windscreen, which is a must for me. I wish I'd done that a lot sooner. Haven't done too much here. A lot of people like to change these out and get something a little bit nicer, some like bark busters or anything, but these have worked just fine for me for now. And then got the quad lock here for me, and I've really enjoyed the quad lock. It's been a huge added benefit to the motorcycle for me. Easy to get your phone on and off, and these side cases are just absolutely incredible also. So not too many mods right there, but I've got a few other things at the house that I've done as well. I take them on and off the bike, but that's basically what stays on the bike. Oh, and the racks for the side cases, because of course those came separately. When I was riding other BMW GSs, I think the thing that was sucked for me were the older generations. You know, you had a much harsher throttle response. People say you can't really tell the difference between 1200s and 1250s. There is a huge difference in power in these. I completely felt it, and I'm gonna stand by that. I really did feel it. And as well, you know, the shifting is way smoother on the 1250s than the 1200s, 100%. I think in 2017, the later generation of 2017s, they started changing over to a newer transition, and they were a lot smoother. I think they call them the 2017.5s or something like that. This motorcycle has been amazing. Love the quick shifter. A lot of people used to have trouble with the key fobs, and even the keyless switch on the handlebars. They were saying that was fading and crapping out on them. So I think a lot of those issues have gone away with the 1250s. I mean, maybe the bad thing would be the drive shaft issue. That would be you know, that's kind of scary, but you know, they fixed it, no big deal, and it's all good. Let's talk reliability. Reliability, I mean, a lot of people online, and this is so crazy, and I think this for a couple of reasons. I think people smash BMWs because, one, they're expensive, and so with a price tag that's that high, you should get a motorcycle that is just phenomenal and the peak of performance. When really, I would say the Japanese bikes are probably the peak of reliability in motorcycles, like Yamaha, Kawasaki, things like that. You're really looking at really reliable bikes. But I have to say, this bike has been super reliable for me. I've had almost no issues, really minor maintenance. When there is maintenance, it's really easy to work on the engine because of the Boxer engine sticking out the way that it does. It makes it very easy to open everything and get inside and work on it. And I think there's a lot of videos online where you look on YouTube and it's scary because you see so many videos that say why I hate my GS, or this is the worst bike I ever bought, or you know, why I'm having so many issues with the GS. And really, you click on them and they're just clickbait to get you to watch the video, and you get in there and they talk about one small thing that freaked them out about the GS, and then they have 20 minutes of them just loving the motorcycle. There's so much stuff with the media, and everybody wants to say bad things because they want it to be bad, but really it's so hard to. I mean, you know, some people say that they had problems in the past, and I believe it. I believe that there are some people out there that have had lemons that they suck, and I have right now 8 buddies. I counted them, okay? I'm not just throwing that number out there. I have 8 buddies that have GSs. One of them has a 2009, one of them has a 2016, and one has a 2017. Out of those bikes, the only people that have had issues with the motorcycle, I think the 2009 guy just recently, I think within the last 2 years, had a problem with tire pressure gauge in the front tire, and it was ridiculous. It was so expensive for him to fix. That's the kind of stuff that sucks about BMWs. When you do have to fix something, it is a little bit pricey, but you know that getting into this. And if that's going to be a problem for you, don't buy this motorcycle. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody wants anything to break, you know, on any of their motorcycles. And if it's something major, yeah, it's going to cost some money. But that's I think the big downside on the bike. All the rest of the 8 actually have newer GSs, so 2019 and above, and they all love them. I met one guy the other day that has a 2001 GS, and he has had that thing for so long. Of course, he loves it. He still loves it. If you're in the States, you see Harley Davidsons everywhere, right? Always Harley Davidsons. Here in Europe, you see BMW R1250GSs and R1200GSs everywhere. They are all over the place. And why is that? Is it because they're not a reliable motorcycle that costs way too much and they just look cool and that's why everybody buys them? No, they buy them because they're comfortable. They have really great attention to detail. They ride super smooth, and they're incredible motorcycles on the road. They're big, but at the same time very nimble, and they can ride like a street bike almost on some of the turn. Okay, street bike guys, don't kill me on that one. Yeah, could it have more torque, more like the KTM? Yes, I would love that. Hopefully in the next iteration of the GS with the 1300 coming out maybe next year or the year after, we'll see some more low-end torque like that that's going to bring us a little bit more into the 1290 range. I don't think that's going to happen because KTM's pretty good at what they do, but let's see how BMW does. For me, I absolutely love this motorcycle, and it has plenty of torque. I'm never wishing I had more to the motorcycle. I'm never twisting that throttle and thinking, man, I wish I just had a little bit more. All right, so this motorcycle is a daily rider for me as well. I don't have a car. My wife has a car, but I chose to get this and ride it as a daily rider. Ride it in the summer, in the winter, all times of the year. Even when it's super cold, when it's raining, I jump on the motorcycle. That's my preferred method of transport. So with that, I've gotten a lot of experience on the bike, got to see it in many different conditions. Of course, you can see I'm a little bit of gravel right here, and the motorcycle is performed as expected for an adventure motorcycle. eats up any kind of terrain, and also super fun when the weather's perfect. And a lot of people are wondering, in Europe or in states where it's legal, lane splitting, is it too much? Is it too big? I have no problems with lane splitting. I split all the time, and the motorcycle just darts right in through the traffic, just pretty much right along with the scooters. They get a little bit ahead of me, but for the most part, I'm right there with them. Some people might say that the weight is a negative for them.
Almost got it.
It's almost got it, yeah.
Almost got it.
It's okay. I'm actually good for a good video.
Yeah. Good job, bro.
Thanks, man.
Good attempt.
So we'll just leave it in first, and you and I can pick it up.
For me, it's not a negative because when I was on the 800, I was always getting side winds and it was throwing me off and really pushing me around on the highway, made me feel super unstable. On this bike, it is heavy bike, but when you do experience high crosswinds, it's amazing to have that extra weight because it really makes you feel stable and planted on the road. So for me, the weight is a plus. I don't go off-road very often, for the style of riding that I do, when I do go off on light gravel roads, it performs perfect for me. So this bike is great, you know, it gives you all the comfort that you want, and it can still get down in the mud and play around if you wanted to do that as well. I love all the creature comforts. I love cruise control. The heated grips are a must. I'll never have another motorcycle without cruise control or heated grips because it changes the game when you want to ride in inclement weather. Or even if you're out for a late evening and it gets a little bit cold, you can pop those heated grips on and it saves your fingers. Sure, this bike has its flaws and it's not perfect, but for me, it's the motorcycle that I always dreamed of ever since I saw Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor doing their round the world trip in Long Way Round. For me, it's the bike that makes me happy, and that's really what it's all about. Even though I've had it for a year, I'm still turning around, I'm still looking at that bike and going, that is the motorcycle for me. And that's what it's all about, guys. Find the motorcycle that you love, find a bike that's gonna treat you well, you're gonna treat it well, be proud of it, and buy it, ride it, take it on adventures, and just appreciate it, because you never know when you wouldn't be able to ride motorcycles again. And right now, this is the bike that makes me happy. Over the last 20,000 kilometers, it has been the motorcycle that has taken me everywhere, and I've done everything on it. It's always been the motorcycle that I wanted, and it's everything I imagined it would be. For me, the R1250GS is a dream come true, and I'm really loving having it in my garage and being able to ride it whenever I want. If you're out there considering the R1250GS, would I recommend it? 100%. I really love this motorcycle among a lot of other motorcycles, but for me, this is my choice. Hope you enjoyed the content. Hope this was informative for you guys if you're trying to make a decision. American Abroad out, ride safe, and we'll see you guys on the pavement.